In today's episode, we're reporting from Jacksonville Beach, Florida. A calm spring break there turned into chaos. This past Sunday, during the St. Patrick's Day celebrations, gunfire broke out. It killed one person and injured three. This incident wasn't isolated, but part of a weekend marred by gun violence across the country. The trouble began around 7:50 p.m. under the pier, where 250 to 400 teenagers had gathered. The crowd began fighting, prompting someone to call the police to break it up. But what happened next surprised us. Near a Best Western hotel, two individuals exchanged gunfire. The exchange tragically injured both shooters and a bystander. The chief of Jacksonville Beach Police is Gene Paul Smith. He said two of the wounded are in serious condition. One of the shooters, known to the police as a gang member, later self-admitted to the hospital. But the violence didn't stop there. At 8:13 p.m., a man fired a shot as he ran past a bar, initiating a foot chase with officers. He managed to avoid capture, and thankfully, this incident did not result in any injuries. Then, at around 8:30 p.m., another shooting occurred behind a downtown bar, claiming the life of a 21-year-old man. The suspect remains at large, described as a 6-foot-tall black male with a short beard. There were multiple shootings. They put thousands at risk. So, the police issued an active threat alert. They evacuated downtown bars and the surrounding area. The SWAT team deployed to aid in the search for suspects and ensure the safety of the evacuated patrons. Chief Smith highlighted the amazing restraint of officers. They did not fire their weapons despite the chaos. This incident happened during spring break. It shows the urgent need for community and police cooperation. Jacksonville Beach is a coastal resort city in Duval County, Florida, United States. It incorporated as Pablo Beach on May 22, 1907, and changed its name to Jacksonville Beach in 1925. The city is part of a group of communities. They are collectively referred to as the Jacksonville Beaches. These communities include Mayport, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Ponte Vedra Beach. In 1968, the city of Jacksonville consolidated with Duval County. Jacksonville Beach voted to keep its own government. Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Baldwin did too. As a result, citizens of Jacksonville Beach can vote in the mayoral election. It is for the city of Jacksonville. As of the 2020 U.S. Census, Jacksonville Beach had a total population of 23,130. The area around present-day Jacksonville Beach was first settled by Spanish settlers. From Mayport to St. Augustine, Spanish missionaries established missions. Spain ceded Florida to Great Britain by treaty in 1763. But Spain regained it. Then, Spain ceded it again to the United States in 1821. River pilots and fishermen came to Hazard, now Mayport. They set up a port. U.S. Army volunteers marching on the beach during the Spanish-American War. In the late 19th century, developers saw the potential in Duval County's oceanfront. They saw it as a resort. In 1883, investors formed the Jacksonville and Atlantic Railroad. They intended to create a resort community. Rail would connect it to Jacksonville. The first settlers were William Edward Scull, a civil engineer and surveyor. His wife was Eleanor Kennedy Scull. They lived in a tent 2 blocks east of Pablo Historical Park. A second tent was the general store and post office. Mrs. Scull became postmaster on August 22, 1884. A horse and buggy sent mail up the beach to Mayport. A steamer took it from there to Jacksonville. The Sculls built the first house in 1884 on their tent site. They named the settlement Ruby for their first daughter. On May 13, 1886, the town renamed itself Pablo Beach after the San Pablo River. In 1885, the San Pablo Diego Beach Land Co. The company sold town lots for $50 to $100 each. They also sold 5 to 10 acres lots for $10 to $20 per acre. The lots were within 3 miles, 4.8 km, of the new seaside resort, Pablo Beach. In September 1892, workers began building the wagon road to Pablo Beach. It is now Atlantic Boulevard. The Murray Hall Hotel was the first resort hotel. A fire destroyed it on August 7, 1890, 4 years after its establishment in mid-1886. By 1900, the railway company began to have money problems. Henry Flagler took over as part of his Florida East Coast Railway. In late 1900, they changed the railway to standard gauge and extended it to Mayport. The Spanish-American War broke out in 1898. The 3rd Nebraska arrived July 22, 1898, for training and embarkation. They encamped at Pablo Beach. 3-time presidential candidate William Jennings Bryan led them. After flooding in the camp at Pablo Beach, the 3rd Nebraska moved to downtown Jacksonville. The amusement park phase of Jacksonville Beach began in 1905 with the Pavilion. It was later expanded and called Little Coney Island. It was a popular tourist attraction. It had a dance floor, swim room, bowling alley, and roller skate rinks. Contracting was a problem. The weather aged its wood. This caused the tearing down of Little Coney Island in 1925. On June 15, 1925, officials changed the name from Pablo Beach to Jacksonville Beach. Charles Shadd created the Shadd's Pier in 1922 with help from Martin Williams. Around the same time, W.H. Adams Sr. created the Ocean View Pavilion. It was on the former site of the Murray Hall Hotel. Adams wanted to create a larger roller coaster than the one at Little Coney Island. His vision resulted in a 93 feet high coaster. The coaster was by the beach. This made it vulnerable to damage. Eventually, they deemed it unsafe. The coaster was then deconstructed to a smaller coaster. The deconstruction of the larger coaster hurt business at the amusement park. By 1949, the Ocean View Pavilion was in decline, and then a fire destroyed it a few years later. The only amusement park in Jacksonville Beach today is Adventure Landing. The boardwalk declined in the 1950s due to the crackdown on gambling and games of chance. The authorities prohibited driving on the beach in 1979. Pablo Beach made aviation history on February 24, 1921. Lieutenant Wam Devo Kone flew from San Diego, California to Pablo Beach. The flight took 22 hours and 17 minutes. It beat the old record set 2 years earlier by 3 hours and 32 minutes. Jimmy Doolittle flew a de Havilland DH-4 biplane from Pablo Beach to San Diego on September 5, 1922. He did it in 21 hours and 19 minutes, which beat Coney's record. In 1968, most Duval County residents voted to merge the county and the city of Jacksonville. Jacksonville Beach voted to keep its own government. Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Baldwin also did. They are not part of the city of Jacksonville, but they get county-level services from Jacksonville. They vote for Jacksonville's mayor and city council. Judy Van Zant is the widow of Ronnie Van Zant, the lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd. She and her daughter Melody opened the Freebird Cafe in 1999. Freebird Live, as it later became, was a popular music venue. It was a staple for Jacksonville Beach for 16 years until it closed in 2016. In September 1999, Hurricane Floyd destroyed the Jacksonville Beach Pier. 5 years later, the pier was rebuilt. In October 2016, Hurricane Matthew forced a mandatory evacuation for Jacksonville Beach. Hurricane Matthew came 40 miles off the coast of Jacksonville Beach. It caused major flooding. The Jacksonville Beach Pier was partially destroyed by Hurricane Matthew.